Everybody, good afternoon. You can remain seated. How are you all doing? You're doing well? My name is Alain Barker. For those of you who are guests, welcome to all of our guests. My name is Alain Barker. I'm the president of this wonderful club. And boy, what an amazing holiday party that was. That was really quite something. So I just wanted to stop for a second and I think that Tyler is going to be sharing a few images. Just huge thanks to all of those who were involved in organizing that party. You know, this was a collaboration between the 3 Bloomington Rotary clubs, and I'm always very happy to see how we work together for the toast, for the holiday party, and for other projects. And the feedback that I've got apart from apologies to those of you who did not get enough food, but the feedback that I've got from everybody who was there was that it was a really wonderful event that celebrated the toast, but also brought this community together and gave us a bit of fun in the middle of it all. That I have to apologize, that sweater changed my personality a little bit. I just want to apologize for my bad behavior. But it was all good fun, and hopefully we'll be having other celebrations in the spring to keep our cheer up as we go through doing such incredible, impactful work that we do in our club. So welcome to everybody, and thank you once again to those who were part of that wonderful celebration. Beautiful. Joey Harder's sweater was absolutely amazing. So we'll go right into our reflection today. I'm going to invite Tim Jessen to come and join me here, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Alain. When he kind of twisted my arm and said, will you do this today? I thought we were going to be meeting next Tuesday on December 20th. And I found out today was the last time we're meeting before the holidays. Now that day would have been perfect for my trifecta. Not only did Christmas Day end that week, it was during the Jewish Hanukkah celebration and almost the shortest day and the longest night beginning winter. So December 20th was my choice, but I'll do it today in anticipation of all those interesting dates and holidays coming up. And I ask at first, what would this month of December be like without the holiday season? Regardless of your religious views or lack of them, who could not enjoy the marvelous display of lights, including the candle on this building? The great parties like the one I missed last Thursday because I was practicing music for a church service, and other things associated with the season. Moving into the extra cold season of winter, though it's not as bad as Chicago, I was telling our guests, we need this extra boost of energy and enthusiasm. Now, in the induction ceremony for new members, and haven't we heard a lot lately due to our chairman, we talk about political and religious views, how we're interested in all those things, though we're not strictly a political or a religious organization. But I think I'll talk about both today, starting with politics. On the horizon is the possibility of people running for re-election again, and how exciting or how dull that will be. However, I want to propose right here and now that we re-elect Alain Barker as our Rotary president. He's doing such a marvelous job. Let's just do away with the traditions and the rules of Rotary and re-elect him here on the spot. President Barnes will gladly wait his turn. And I mean no respect to the talented ladies that have led us through the pandemic, including Sally right here in front of my eyes. I also think we should give Michael Shermis the Chuck Grassley Award. You know why? He's been the longest chair of the program committee, just like Grassley has been in the, and I think we should elect him for life, because that is one hard job. Well, I was joking, and that's my political part. Now I'm going to go to the religious part. And I plan to read the great poem of Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, written during the American Civil War. We're not in a war, although Ukraine and Russia still are, but my goodness, we are polarized, aren't we? Wadsworth was born and raised in Portland, Maine, where I have family members I will see after the new year, so I enjoy his work immensely. Christmas this year falls on a Sunday, which delights Catholics, but not so much Protestants. Does anyone know why? Well, Catholics can fulfill their obligation by going to Christmas Eve Mass, but we Protestants will have to drag ourselves out for morning worship because it's a Sunday, and that's our day of worship. Longfellow's hymn and poem is so appropriate for that day. I'm not going to change men to all in order to keep the poem's original words, and you can substitute higher power or whatever God if you wish, but the message of Longfellow is surely one that we need today. He writes in the middle of the Civil War, I heard the bells on Christmas Day, their old familiar carols play, and mild and sweet the words repeat of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And thought how the day had come, the belfries of all Christendom had rolled along the unbroken song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And in despair I bowed my head. There is no peace on earth, I said, for hate is strong and mocks the song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Then pealed the bells more loud and deep. God is not dead, nor does he sleep. The wrong shall fail, the right prevail, with peace on earth, goodwill to men. So be it. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. We're so grateful that you're part of this club in so many different ways. It's really wonderful to hear from you. I won't respond to the invitation for me to continue my tenure here, because I tell you, I've had enough bad dreams about how disastrous my time would be. So I don't want more of them. So, but thank you. That's a very powerful reflection. And it's so wonderful to think about how immensely important this time of the year is for all of us as we think through our spiritual journey, as we think through our community, as we think through so much. Well, we have a few birthdays to celebrate. Greer Carson, who I had breakfast with last week, is on the 12th, the same day as our one and only Jim Sims. Yes. And then Daniel Matthews, likewise, on the 13th. And then member anniversaries. Wendell, it's been great to have you with us for 3 years now, which is great. Wendell St. John. Yep. Trent Deckard, likewise, 6 years. And Peggy Frisbee, 26 years. Thank you and congratulations to Peggy. Okay, we've got our guests and Sally Gaskell is going to join me.
Welcome to everyone today, and especially to our guests at this last meeting of 2022. We're so happy for any guests who come to our club. We welcome you at any time. Please think about coming back next year. First is Dakir Abdullah, a guest of Alain and the club. Jennifer Engel is a guest of Alain Barker. Welcome. Jennifer's from the Study Abroad and International Programs here at IU. Tonya Vandeveer is a guest of Bitter de Wees from Stone Belt. Alain Barker has 2 special guests from Gigabit Now, Lexi Walters and Bailey Klein. Will you please stand? Welcome. And I'm not introducing Megan Gearhart because she's not really a guest.
And as always, I'm happy to say that some of the members of our guests are interested in joining the club. So we have a lot of excitement budding here. So we have a few club updates. I've got, oh, Joy, thank you very much. Yes, Joy, do we have any guests?
Yes, we do, Alon.
Yay,
thank you
thank
for
you.
whoever just nudged you to reach out.
Michael Shermis to the rescue.
Thank you, Michael Shermis. I'm very happy to welcome Madison Ferguson as our guest this afternoon. Say hi, Madison. She's coming to us from France. Where
Hello.
Bonjour. Bonjour. She is concluding her global grant scholarship program and has a great interest in learning more about Rotary. So she's Jim Bright's guest, Jim is also on Zoom this afternoon. So anyway, we give you a warm welcome, Madison.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just had to get my timekeeping. So a few other, thank you very much, Joy, and congratulations on that beautiful sweater that you wore to the party. Welcome back, Dave Meyer and Cindy Neidhart. They're back from New Zealand, and Dave's going to be talking extensively about it sometime soon. I just wanted to say I got my pen. I got a pen from the University of Otago, and I also got some volcanic obsidian glass from a volcano, from one of the very large volcanoes. It's a special type of volcano, super volcano that affects climate throughout the world. So we've got something from New Zealand here as well. And welcome, Dave and Cindy. Very nice to have you both back with us. Some sad news. Henk Hejema just let us know that his brother Art passed away very surprisingly and unexpectedly. In fact, Henk was just with him in the Netherlands and then had to return. And I think some of you might remember Art was here a few years ago giving us a presentation. So we have them in our thoughts. Rotarian Harmon Baldwin, if you remember the name, very important member of our community and part of the MCCSE system as well, passed away at the impressive age of 100 years old in Richmond, Virginia, a Rotarian since 1969 until leaving this club in 2015 when he moved to be closer to his family. He was superintendent of the Monroe County Consolidated School Corporation, and together with our wonderful friend and late Rotarian Ron Jensen co-led an effort in 2010 to pass the school referendum in support of the MCCSC. So he was really quite a figure, and we miss him and think of his family. We have Elle and Liz Feitel in our thoughts. Elle actually was in the hospital with COVID recently. And then Connie and Gus Chikalas have COVID, as does Sarah Laufman. So we're thinking of them all and hoping that you will all keep safe and everybody will survive and get back to health as quickly as possible. Bloomington Rotary Club, Sally mentioned to me that they're meeting on Wednesday, January 18th. What did I say? Rotary Book Club. The Rotary Book, thank you very much. January 18th, I should be fired right now. At the home of Judy Schroeder to discuss this very interesting book that I actually looked into as well, and I'm definitely going to read it over the break, called Zari by Laird Hunt, which is set in a small town in Indiana in the 1930s. It's also the 2021 National Book Award finalist. So check it out. It's going to be quite a read. If you want to see more of the holiday celebrations, please join us online. We're trying to fire up our social media activity. We've now got Instagram, Facebook, public page, as well as a Facebook group page. And we also reactivated our LinkedIn page. So go and be merry with social media this break. We definitely want to see you there. The more likes, the more shares, the more uploads, photographs, and what have you, the better for our club, because we can truly celebrate what we do within this community that way. The Zero in Bloomington initiative, much vaunted and yet not quite realized yet. We'll be hearing more about that in January. We've also got our Sign Up Genius prepared and ready for you to participate in our weekly celebrations. Please go online when you receive the link and sign up for a reflection, or to greet the guests, or to introduce the guests, or to get involved in technology and all the above. We definitely want as many of you involved in our meetings as possible. I'm going to remind you of the SWOT survey. We've got 7 responses thus far, And they've been absolutely fantastic. For instance, our strength, our people, commitment to service, highly engaged, committed, resourceful, amazing people and programs. Our weaknesses, our demographics lacking in diversity, lack of unifying service projects such as Teachers Warehouse, a lack of international programs and exchanges. So an opportunity for us to open up that question of what could we be doing to realize our potential as an organization, which then goes to our opportunities, of course, becoming more representative of our community. And I'm very happy to say that we are moving slowly in that direction. Youth activities, you'll be hearing more about that in the spring. Community partnerships and collaborations, alignment with Rotary's 7 areas of focus, keeping that in mind as we always go towards our North Star in terms of what we want to be as an organization, and then threats and so on and so forth. So this feedback that we're getting from all of you is critically important as we imagine who we are and what we are going forward. And so I urge you all to just jump in. The responses that we get are completely confidential. So, you know, nobody's going to know who said what, but how you say it is really what matters so that we can keep building our organization. And then finally, as we go into our final happy dollars of the year, I just want to, let's all remember to keep Rotary International and the Bloomington Rotary Foundation in our hearts and minds as we plan our end of year giving. And I want to give a shout out to Peggy Frisbee, Mike Baker, Lauren Snyder, who I believe is with us. He came in. Hey, Lauren, it's great to see you. And others who've been so instrumental and supportive of this effort to support the Rotary International Foundation and the Bloomington Rotary Foundation through our giving season. So thank you to all of them. Okay, and that segues into our final happy dollars of the year, supporting Teachers Warehouse. If anybody has any updates, I'm just going to simply mention myself. I'm going to throw in $20 to say that next week I go on a voyage to be with my family. I'm going to the Dominican Republic. I'm going to hang out with them, and I'm just absolutely thrilled and couldn't be happier. So that's my Teachers Warehouse gift for the week. Anybody else?
I'll give $20 in honor of Mr. Baldwin, who was a wonderful part of our community for so long.
There we go.
I'll give $5 happy dollars for the 5 cats I just had fostered and returned the day where they're being spayed today. And I would just let you know there are 4 adorable kittens waiting to be adopted at the shelter. I'm told they'll be disappearing by Thursday. They're so popular. So I got a new one, and I'll report back on the next litter. My new role in life, fostering pregnant cats.
Anybody online with a thought about the season or a reflection or comment?
Well, I'll give 20. I'm just going to do myself.
Yeah.
I'll give $20. I had the pleasure of taking Jawa here to a doctor's appointment at HealthNet and got to see the work Raj and Dad had done in providing healthcare for everyone. So that was pretty impressive and meant a lot. Sorry for the phone.
That's really great. And I'm actually going to throw in another 10 just because it's sort of a season of giving, right? Because I forgot to mention something very important. And so this is in the hope that the Mohammadi family can find a new apartment. So that's my hope. That's my $10 hope. Happy dollars for them because they're doing so incredibly well. And they should contact Dave. Anybody who has information about an opportunity for them to rent another apartment for what? A 3-bedroom apartment or a house. I should speak to Dave as soon as possible. While I think they were very happy to have an apartment that they could finally rent on their own, it's not worked out as well as they had hoped, and they really need to move somewhere else. So if any of you know of any place, we can spend another 10 happy dollars to celebrate their new abode.
Hello, so my name's Patrick Smith, and I want to donate 10 happy dollars for two purposes, 2 reasons. One, I just celebrated my PhD. Yes, Indiana State University. I just completed it. And then also want to give in honor of Jim Sims, who came all the way over to Terre Haute, him and his lovely wife, Doris. to support me in that endeavor. So 10 happy dollars. I'd love to give 20 happy dollars again in memory of Harvard Baldwin. For those that have been touched by him, he was quite a powerful and instrumental leader in our community. And again, my name is Lance Everly. Glad to introduce myself again to everybody. Glad to be back. And again,
District Governor.
Yeah, again, an appreciation of everything that our clubs have done over the course of this year. It's been tremendously just phenomenal. So again, in celebration of that.
Nice to see you sitting next to the flag here. Oh, no, the other one. Oh, the other. Yeah. Okay.
Hi, I am Raj.
Raj, go ahead.
Well, I just joined the video portion. I wasn't able to join earlier, but I was on my phone. But luckily, I reached the right segment for me. I would like to give $20, honoring all the speakers of this year we have. They were a group of wonderful, informative, and professional, as well as I give another $20 for the recognition of the good work of the members of the DEI committee. And have a wonderful holiday season to everyone.
Thank you, Raj. Thank you.
And I think we have Charlotte.
I'll give $20 for several reasons. But first of all, in honor of the Rotary deciding, being forced to accept women in 1988. And for my daughter who turns 60, my little daughter is 60 next week, and she's a professor of law at the University of Toledo. And my son has just turned 62. No, that's not right. Okay, it's the other way around. and to me for having a sense of humor, for being so silly. So I think it's a wonderful world that we live in. A lot of terrible things, but a lot of wonderful things. And this is one of them. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you, Charlotte. And Charlotte, as always, it's so wonderful to have you with us. Very, very special. Well, so I want to just acknowledge a few people. Marilyn Wood, she's not only the roundabout reporter this week, but she was our greeter. So thank you, Marilyn. Tyler Nichols for helping with our technology with support from Tracy and Michael. Joy Harder online. Thank you so much, Joy. It was so wonderful to see you in person last week. So we have to make sure that we do that again sometime. Tim Jessen for your really wonderful reflection. Thank you. And now we go on to our program. So Michael Sherman, if you'd like to come up.
Beyond my work as a program committee chair and tech person, I actually have a job. I work at this, I know, it's shocking. I work at the City of Bloomington in the Community and Family Resources Department. And while I have a variety of duties, the one that I probably spend the most time on is with the Council for Community Accessibility and working with people with disabilities. And that has given me the honor of working with a lot of organizations in our community that serve people with disabilities. I even started up with people from LIFEDesigns. They're pushing really hard. We started up a Disability Services Providers Coalition that meets every month. So I've had the good fortune to work with a lot of Stone Belt and LIFEDesigns folks and other organizations. And I'll have to say, it really is an honor to work with people who care for people with disabilities. They have amazing patience and empathy and are really hard workers. And the one I'm going to introduce now is no exception. So Sherri Treadway is the Development and Marketing Director for Developmental Services. She has worked with the agency for the past 7 years in this role, and for 20 years prior served as the Community Living Director. So LIFEDesigns and Developmental Services merged last year, and their marketing and development departments are now working together, as well as their program services. She lives in Washington, Indiana, and has been a Rotary member there since 2016. She is involved in the Daviess County Chamber of Commerce, serves on a couple of nonprofit organization boards in that area, and is active in the Indiana Association of Rehabilitation Facilities. Although she's not talking about it today, because I got to see her bio, she has a fascinating story about connecting with people from an adopted kind of family, and she now knows lots of people all over the nation, and that's been really interesting to hear about too. Without further ado, Sherri, come on up.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me today. I really appreciate being invited. I don't really think I have much more to say about myself because Michael did a great job of introducing me. I think I just hit something on here. As Michael said, I'm from Washington, but we have merged with LIFEDesigns last December. So we've been together for about a year now. We have spent the past year doing a lot of planning, a lot of sharing, and just basically getting to know one another and getting to learn about what each other does in their own areas. On your tables, you'll see a couple of things there. I put some maps out of our service areas that we now cover with developmental services. And the areas in the orange and the teal are the counties that we call our west side. And that's the side that I work with my team. And as you can see, we've got several counties that we serve there, but overall we serve 54 counties in Indiana now. We're a not-for-profit, and that makes us the largest not-for-profit doing the kind of work that we do in the state. So I appreciate you having me. We're excited to be in Bloomington, and we're excited to be associated with LIFEDesigns and with the Bloomington area. The other thing I put on your table, you'll notice, are some notepads and some pens. And one of the things that we did this past year, because we've now had 4 companies merged together, is we had to do sort of a rebrand and a redesign and all of those things. So what you'll see is our logo is very simple. It's the DSI logo. Diversified Solutions Incorporated is now what is considered our parent company. And Four Rivers, the company that I worked with before, LIFEDesigns and Bonavista from Kokomo, as well as Developmental Services that's based in Columbus, now all fall under the Diversified Solutions brand. So the colors in our DSI logo now are colors that represent each one of those agencies that came together to form the Diversified Solutions brand. So one thing that I want to mention is that we strive to stay very local in all of our areas. Having worked in development the past 7 years, it's critical for funding and other reasons that you stay local to your community and that you stay connected with that community. So we all maintain our local boards of directors as we had before we merged. They're sort of an advisory board to the larger board, and there are members from each community that serve on the overall board. So we have good representation from all of the areas because we want to make sure that everyone is included and that everyone is part of the bigger picture as we move forward. I would like to just go over a few things with you all. You can change to the next slide, please. Let me tell you a little bit about Developmental Services. We are also a not-for-profit, and LIFEDesigns is a not-for-profit agency. Four Rivers Resource Services that I worked for before was a not-for-profit agency, as well as Bonavista, which is another partner company in Kokomo. The merger with LIFEDesigns happened last year in December. Our merger with Four Rivers happened in 2017, about this time of year. And in 2020, we merged with Bonavista. So we've kind of been adding as we go along, and we've learned a lot doing those mergers. So we feel like we kind of got it down to sort of a science at this point. Long before that, DSI and LIFEDesigns and Bona Vista and Four Rivers and Blue River and several other agencies that were not-for-profits began getting together at least once a month to do best practices and to share information with one another and to look at how we were serving clients. At the time that that was developed, most of the agencies that were in that group were from Southern Indiana. So we called it the Southern Indiana Collaborating Organizations, lovingly known as SICO, which is just funny. After we started moving around and getting some other people involved from the northern area, we did change the name of that group to the Strategic Indiana Planning Network. So it now has a different acronym since we're no longer in the South, but it's not nearly as fun as SICO. So we had a lot of fun with that. As I said, we completed this merger in 2021, and we now serve 54 counties in Indiana. So if you would like to change the slide, I'd appreciate it. Thanks. So why do we merge? A lot of people ask that question. Why are you merging? Why are you doing this? And the number one reason that we want to do these mergers is so that we can do better. All of us that have merged together sort of have different strengths and different areas that we've excelled in or that we've maybe done better in. For example, LIFEDesigns has always been known for their supported living program and their supported employment. That's kind of been their specialty thing. Four Rivers has a public transportation system that's very rural, it's on demand, and we serve 11 counties in southwestern Indiana where there is no public transportation other than what we have. So that's a really cool program that we've done. Four Rivers also has been very forward thinking in developing some housing for folks with disabilities. We have developed 4 complexes, all with several accessible units. And not talking about just ADA accessible, but we've kind of went above and beyond that with some of the designs and things that we've done there. So that's kind of been our specialty. Developmental Services in Columbus has sort of been known for their industrial work. They have a long-running partnership with Cummins and have done a lot of work contractually with Cummins and provided a lot of jobs for people with disabilities and people without disabilities as well. And as far as Bona Vista, they're kind of a full scope agency as well. We all kind of do all the things, but they're very well known for their early childhood services, and they do first steps in preschool, and they do it very well. And so we all kind of have our niche, and what that has done is to make us all better in all of those areas. So I say we work in 54 counties. We don't do all of those things in all 54 counties. So in some counties, we do everything. And in some counties, like the very southern counties that you'll see in Southwest Indiana, we're really only doing public transportation there. We might be doing some behavior services, but we don't do every service in every county. So if you think it sounds like a lot, it still is, but it's not quite as much as it seems like. We're trying to just keep our heads afloat, actually. We try to provide all the services that people need. And we also try to fill in those gaps where there are things that people don't have. In our Four Rivers area, for example, there was a huge lack of transportation. We had trouble getting people jobs out in the community because they didn't have a way to get there. Most of them don't drive. That's what led us to develop our public transportation program. It was a lot of work. It took several years to get that going, but we have a large fleet and we serve a lot of people. If you've been to Daviess County, you also know that that is Amish country. And we provide those folks with a lot of transportation too. They use our transportation pretty much daily. We do some medical transportation, and then we take a lot of people to medical appointments and other places that they need to get in the community, and they just don't have means to do that. So that was a gap that we saw in our area. We also saw a big gap in the housing for the people that we work with. As Michael mentioned, accessibility is a huge issue. We had all of these people coming out of institutions. Bida and Tanya, I know you guys relate to this. They were coming out of the institutions many years ago. They had a lot of significant disabilities, a lot of mobility issues, a lot of personal care issues. And when we would look for them apartments to live in or houses to rent, there were very little things in our area that were accessible. So it was very hard to find them a place to live that was going to make it easy for them to be more independent and also make it easy enough for our staff to be able to work with them. So that's a gap that we felt like we needed to fill in our area. And all of the agencies have done some housing as well for that same reason. So just an example of how we're all a little bit different, but we're also all very much the same. Next slide, please. Since I'm not in Bloomington, one of the things that I'm doing is trying to learn about Bloomington. And so that is a process where I'm learning every day. Next slide, please. One of the things I learned about was the art of chocolate and the chocolate event that you all have been having for several years now. And the way I understand it, the chocolate event used to be a month-long event. Lots of people participated in it. And then COVID happened. And I guess it kind of went by the wayside a little bit for a couple of years. And as it was starting to be brought back, I think there were some people that decided not to participate in it anymore. It was always a great event for LIFEDesigns, so they wanted to continue to do that. And so in February, we were slated to have our Art of Chocolate event. There was an uptick in COVID about that time, and so we decided to postpone it until May. And we did that. And it was a great event. It was smaller, I'm told, than what it had usually been. I hadn't attended before, so I didn't really know what to expect. It was a smaller event, but it was still a really nice public awareness event. And many of our clients got to display their art and actually sell some of their art, as well as having a lot of the chocolate vendors that joined us as well. So that was a really cool event. It's local, and we hope to continue that on this year. Next slide, please. In September, we did our annual Golf for Independence tournament at Eagle Point. We have an all-abilities choir at LIFEDesigns, and they actually performed at the event to get us started. We had a really nice golfer turnout. It was a really, really, really hot day, but it was a good day. And we had a nice silent auction afterwards. So it wound up being a very nice fundraiser, and some of the clients from the choir wound up hanging around all day at the golf course, and they just enjoyed the lunch and the celebration and the reception afterwards. So that's a local event that we will plan to continue. In June, we also had a golf tournament in Columbus, and we had a golf tournament in Kokomo. And I don't know why we did those both in the same month, because it was really hard. And they were both very hot as well. But those are all local events that have been going on for quite some time. And so those are the things that we want to make sure that we maintain in our local areas. Next slide, please. We like to do special things for our clients, and we do as much of that as we can. We always try to keep being inclusive in mind when we do those things. So after many events were canceled over the last couple of years, we've learned that our clients are very, very anxious to get out and about and be involved in things and included again. So we were able to have our annual Halloween party this year. We had it at the Moose's outdoor venue, if you're familiar with that. We had several clients that came out in costume. We had some contests, we had music, we had dancing, snacks. There were some prizes given out. And all of our Halloween party and our Christmas party that I will talk about later are planned by our ACEs that we work with from Kelly at IU. And we have two ACEs with us this year, one who's been there, this is her 4th year, so she's leaving us this year. and one that is a freshman. And so she's being mentored by Zoe, our senior this year. So we're hoping we'll keep her for the next few years. But these students are wonderful at helping us get these events done, because in case no one knows, we're short-staffed like everyone else in the world. But their help and their planning and their putting things together and running errands and doing all of the things that they do make it possible for us to do these things for our clients that we probably wouldn't have time to do otherwise. So we are so appreciative of them. Next slide, please. Every year we do an annual awards banquet at Developmental Services. They've been doing it for, oh my gosh, I think they said this was 37 years or something like that at the last one that we had. We were virtual the last couple of years, but this year we actually got to have our in-person event. We celebrate individuals with disabilities who have made some great strides. We like to recognize staff who have gone above and beyond in what they do, and as well as professional staff who lead those folks. We celebrate our volunteers that we could not do without. And we also recognize some other community partners that we would not be able to do our job successfully without. This year, since we were welcoming LIFEDesigns into our company, the All Abilities Choir sang 2 songs to start off our program, which was really cool. And we also had Hive, which is a local restaurant here. They were recognized as our Employer of the Year. Brandy Hamilton is our employment person here in Bloomington, and she was very involved with them and speaks nothing but kindly of them about all of the opportunities that they've given people with disabilities for job shadowing, trying out different things, learning what their skills are and their strengths are. So we were happy that we got to award them at our banquet. Next slide, please. And it's no surprise that most of our clients, like most of us, love Christmas. And they have a special love for Christmas that I don't know that you see everywhere. I don't want to say they're childlike because they aren't children, but they really do love Christmas. I love Christmas, so I kind of get it. But they love that. They enjoy it. Anything that's Christmas related, they're very excited about. We're having Christmas Spirit Week this week, so people are dressed up in red and green, or they are wearing elf costume or whatever. We have different days that are designated, so people are having a great time this week. We had our first in-person Christmas party in 2 years, so we had a wonderful celebration. Again, the Moose here in Bloomington, they're very good to us. They provide us with a lot of support and a lot of service. They sponsored our party. They did our cooking for us this year. They prepared a wonderful dinner. They allowed us to have our party in their large room. And they also had some connections with Mr. and Mrs. Claus and Rudolph. And so they kind of popped by, and that was a pretty exciting moment for everybody. We had some dancing, karaoke, and cookie decorating as well. And again, all of this party, all of the activities, everything that was done was planned by the IU service learners and led by our ACEs that we work with. Next slide, please. And this is just some more pictures from our Christmas party. If you'll notice in the center, on the top, that is a picture of our service learners that helped with this particular party, and our ACEs as well that worked on the party. And I'm not sure who had a better time. I think they had as much fun as the clients. One of the things we noticed was how wonderfully they interacted with the people that we work with. And but you don't always see that, but it was really nice to see that. I know the clients felt very included in that. Next slide, please. We also do everything we can to make our staff feel appreciated. Like I mentioned, like every other business out there, we are short-staffed. We don't have enough bodies to go around. And so we're always in the mode of recruiting, but we're also always in the mode of trying to appreciate the people that we do have who work really hard. So we have a Christmas party for our staff as well. And so this is some pictures from that Christmas party that we had. This was our first in-person one for 2 years, and the first one that LIFEDesigns was invited to join us in. We had it in Lyons, Indiana this year. I don't know if you guys know where that is. It's like a little bitty tiny map dot, but they have a community building that they let us use for free. So we're not for profit, and that's what we like. So we had the party there. We had lots of gifts, lots of food, lots of laughs, and there were games and prizes, and we gave away 2 large screen TVs and sound bars at the end in a drawing. So we had a lot of staff that attended. There were about 175 people there. So evidently they were ready to get back out as well. Next slide, please. So I've mentioned this already, but I want to pay some special attention to them. We're very fortunate at LIFEDesigns to have a great relationship with the Kelly ACE program at IU. I mentioned the 2 students we have. Zoe is a senior, so she's been with us for 4 years. I came into the picture this summer with actually working with the Bloomington folks, and she's been of great help to me because she's been involved in all of these activities over the years. So she was very willing to share what she knew, and she basically knew more than I did about the activities. So so thankful for her. The service learners that we have are from the event programming and planning class and the inclusive participatory music practices courses. So the music students also work with our All Abilities choir that I mentioned earlier. And some of you may have seen them. I know that they have done the national anthem and done some other things at some of the local events here in Bloomington. And I think they also got to sing at a Pacers game last year. I think that was their big thing. It was kind of like right when I started. So I didn't get to see them, but I've heard about it. Our senior ace, Zoe, this will be her last semester. So Sahida, our freshman, will be kind of taking over things. She's been taking it all in this semester and learning all she can. We had a meeting with our representative from the ACE program, and they seemed very pleased with what the students were doing there and asked if we would be willing to look at some other areas to have some service learners. So next semester, we're very hopeful that we're going to be working with some social work students, which in our field will be fantastic to have. So I can't enough say how thankful we are for them and all the work they've done. 2 other interns that we have that I want to mention, Sally Tran and Alex Jones. Sally is a fellow from IU in our development department, and Alex Jones was an intern from Ivy Tech, and she will be leaving us this year. So we wish her luck. Sally will be staying with us, and she's been writing some grants and doing all kinds of marketing things for us. Next slide, please. And of course, last but certainly not least, we wanted to, of course, mention the Rotary Toast. And thank you all for your generosity. Gladys Devane is just a lovely, lovely lady who I had not met until the Toast event. She chose us to be the recipient of the funds from the Toast this year. We serve her son, Glenn, and have for many, many years. And Gladys was also one of the founders of LIFEDesigns, or whatever it was called way back in the day. I'm not even sure what it was called back then. But last week at your Christmas party, those of you that were there saw us get to receive a big, and I do mean a big, check for $14,471.77. And we appreciate every single penny of that. And this will help us to keep doing the good things that we do. So I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you all. Thank you so much for having me as a guest. It's always nice as a Rotarian to get out and go to some other clubs and see what that's like. And thank you very much. Sure. Yes, you asked how we interact with other local agencies like Stone Belt and Habitat. I think we have some clients that go to Stone Belt for day programs, so we do collaborate with them on some things, and I think there's some committees and things that we participate on together. You guys are still in NRF, right? NRF members. So our national trade or our state trade association, we work together through that as well. I'm not sure if we work with Habitat or not. I'll just be completely honest. I don't know the answer to that question. Sure. Yes.
The Jobapalooza, and I don't know how many of you are familiar with that, but basically we have lots of employers who come together and they make a day of just practice workstations all throughout. It's very wonderful. You should come next year.
Yes, I had another engagement this year, but Brandy said it was great. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you so much, Sherri, and all the amazing work that your organization does. It's sort of a passion project and impacts so many people. So thank you. And in honor of your time with us, we support an organization in town, and this quarter we're supporting Stages Bloomington, which is an arts organization. Next quarter there'll be another organization for us to choose. That's in honor of your time with us. Thank you. So let's see. Next meeting, January 3rd, 2023. My goodness. We'll meet in the Frangipani room. Our guest will be our very own Kate Craikshank, who has worked diligently and professionally over the last few years, all the way back to, well, a few months, all the way back to last year in an initiative begun by our past president, Sally Gaskell, to check into our archives and make sure that they're all where they need to be. It's going to be a fascinating discussion. And her talk is called A Peek into the Bloomington Rotary Club Archives. So that's going to be fun. And I want to just take a moment here to reflect on the past 6 months. It's been quick and very intense. And as we savor our moments with family, for some of us, take a deep breath after a very intense semester as well. Meditate on our spiritual journeys and treasure close friends. It's a time of thanks. And I want to thank all of you so much for supporting me in my endeavor to be your president. It's been a time of, as I say, intensity, very impactful projects, which I look forward to supporting all the way through the next 6 months as well and beyond. Personal growth and great fellowship. The projects we do together and the gatherings that we have make such a difference to our lives and the lives of everyone in Bloomington and beyond. So happy Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, to those of you who celebrate and follow these very special traditions, and to all of you, a very, very happy and healthy holiday. As we look to 2023, let's hope for a world that is more peaceful. That one always gets me. A world that can perhaps fully understand and embrace the four-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do.
Is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And fifth, is it fun?
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, thank you.